The dark power in Tsubasa was an interesting dynamic that completely changed his story. I think it meant a lot for when he's finally able to overcome this power and refine the purpose in his life. During this match with Ryuga in the first season, Tsubasa was the first person to be able to stop Ryuga's dark move, and it seemed to be like he could win, and then Ryuga showcased even more power, slipping out some of the dark power to Tsubasa itself. This is a critical point in the story where Tsubasa had fled from the Dark Nebula and is now working to stop them and falls short to Ryuga. We then see Tsubasa again in Metal Masters where his dark power now starts to slip out for the first time in his qualifying match against KiiNGKhyy. This was the start of the demise for Tsubasa. Dark power would slowly start to become stronger and stronger as each day passed. This storyline for Tsubasa was very well thought out, and they needed to add some change as Ryuga had gotten rid of the dark power, and of course there was still some that was left. The biggest word that is shown a lot for Tsubasa in his dark state was the word lose. Every time Tsubasa gets into a bench where victory is uncertain, he goes into this dark power unconsciously and does everything it takes to win. This was highly strange to Tsubasa as he was one of the calmest and most calculative person in all of Beyblade. The word lose though means a lot, as in this season they were in the World Championships and losing meant letting down not only yourself and your team, but the entire country who was cheering you on. After this first season, the pressure to win felt bigger than ever for Tsubasa as he lost to KiiNGKhyy and still didn't feel worthy in the qualifying match. He could see the inner reflection of himself and how much his teammates relied on him to win. He wanted to win at all costs, and the dark power seen that and consumed him from it. It was a good clash of light and dark, showcasing the dark power we all hold in ourselves. Losing was not an option for Tsubasa, and he wanted strength. You could say the dark power was definitely controlling his emotions and feeding off of his doubt, but he still wanted to win regardless to not let his team down. We could see him thinking about losing in this match against China and how he thinks everyone will blame him if they lose. He didn't want to lose knowing that, and the self-doubt continued over and over. The dark power even tells him that all he wanted to do was win and give results, and that is why the dark power is here now. The dark power will constantly taunt Tsubasa and wanted him to just go wild and surrender himself to the dark power. The darkness weeped into Tsubasa's heart and showed his fear of losing and wanted to prove himself and test himself against the world. As he was continuing to let the darkness haunt him, he has to talk with Ryuga. Ryuga talks about the history of El Drago and why the ambitions and dark greed of humans is what created the dark power. Ryuga tells Tsubasa that if the dark power was created by humans, then there's no reason why he should not be able to overcome it. Ryuga was able to free himself from his control, and Tsubasa was now looking to do the same. He tells Tsubasa to not resist it and instead become one with it. This is a good conversation as Tsubasa learned more about the dark power from someone who also went through it. It's crazy though because Ryuga said that the last remaining piece of the dark power is in Tsubasa. So a lot of it was mainly in Ryuga before, and he didn't have the dark power take control of him until his fight with KiiNGKhyy. That means Ryuga was able to withstand the dark power for that long, and this type of torture on Tsubasa put him in the hospital. Goes to let you know the willpower of Ryuga and just how strong he is. As the next match proceeds after his talk with Ryuga, we get to see Tsubasa's true darkness in him. The dark power taunts him again about his desire to win and how the end result is the only thing that matters. He brings Tsubasa into a memory of the past where his darkness was first discovered. We see Tsubasa as a kid going up against someone and is using his ego graciously, and looks like he should win. Tsubasa will lose this match however as the opponent hit the logs, causing them to fall and knock out Eagle. He was completely stunned from losing, and everyone who had once cheered him on switched up on him and were upset that he lost. Tsubasa then finds out that his opponent had rigged the stadium, allowing him to win. Tsubasa then swore he would get revenge on that same guy and train to get back to that spot. The dark power makes him remember that anger that was inside him from that moment and to use it as a weapon. Tsubasa then thinks back to meeting a baby eagle who was just hurt and then getting the eagle to fly. It showed Tsubasa to fight fair and square no matter what his opponent does. He will be like an eagle that soars through the open skies. The eagle's ability to soar high in the sky without being bound to the ground represents freedom. Its ability to fly at great heights and distances without constraint is often seen as a metaphor for the human desire for liberty and independence. It makes Tsubasa's character who it is. The freedom of an eagle is what Tsubasa needed to go after. He didn't need to confine himself to others to try and win. When the eagle appears, you're on notice to be courageous and stretch your limits. Do not accept the status quo, but rather reach higher and become more than you believe you are capable of. Look at things from a new, higher perspective. Be patient with the present. Know that the future holds possibilities that you may not yet be able to see. Tsubasa can't worry about the fine things, but can just rely on himself and take things to new heights. There is darkness in everyone, but Tsubasa knows that there is also light. We go back to when Tsubasa was a kid, and he is able to defeat the same opponent who defeated him from before. He's able to find himself out of the darkness and remember who he is. Sometimes darkness can be huge and empower all of us, but it's because of the darkness that light can also be seen. I really like this lesson of light and darkness and what it showed us. It really felt like a blessing in disguise for Tsubasa if you ask me. Prior to the dark power, Tsubasa was pretty much cool, calm, and collected. We never really knew his feelings and his desire to win. He He had only lost to Ryuga in the first season, and technically Jenga, but he wasn't really trying, so it's not something that happens often to him. In the second season, the price of losing was so much more powerful, and Tsubasa just didn't want to let his friends down. His desire to win allowed the dark power to slowly gain control and keep getting stronger after every battle. There is a serious distortion on what is perceived as darkness, light and evil itself. We live in a society where evil disguises itself by light. Darkness is suppressed and often easily manipulated by evil, and light demands absolute obedience, which tips the balance between light and darkness itself. Like the yin and the yang, both light and darkness exist within one and the other. Losing touch of the balance one way or the other causes a distortion and the opportunity for evil to arise. In the natural order, light needs darkness to maintain orderly balance. Evil amplifies the darkness when we suppress, avoid, or detach from our own darkness. It slowly takes over and amplifies it, and we become uncontrollable in our own thoughts and actions due to the inability to acknowledge it. The more we run from it, the stronger it becomes, and less control we have over how it affects us. Emotions, feelings, and thoughts become consumed by these forces when triggered, and because there is no balancing force to counter the darkness, we slowly fall into darkness in a perpetual state of despair and find ourselves unable to see the light, love, and happiness. Evil begins to take over by amplifying the need for power and dominance. The balance is distorted to justify and demand superiority over darkness and in the name of light. We forget about love and tolerance. How do we restore the balance? Love and acknowledgement. Light and darkness is like two sides of the same coin. Recognizing both exists and have its place in the world is the first step in maintaining balance and preventing one from overpowering the other. Learning to channel the darkness and understand its purpose and role in our lives is crucial in not allowing evil to take over this darkness. In the case of emotions, say anger for example, recognizing anger instead of suppressing it will allow us to begin consciously and mindfully understand what is causing the feeling itself. Anger, if used productively, can help us recognize when our boundaries are violated or where we have had prior trauma experiences that have been unresolved and possibly feeling victimized. The suppression of this emotion becomes a catalyst for hate and a biased perception due to past experiences. On the opposite end, perpetual happiness is unnatural. As human beings, we are multidimensional, so the need to remain on one spectrum of expression is an imbalance of its own. Letting go of the absolute need to be happy and positive at all times allows a natural flow between light and dark. With love, this flow will prevent any overwhelming imbalance and absolute control from light. When we hold on to ideas and do not allow possibility of new ideas and act to suppress new ideas, we become the oppressors and the champions for evil itself. It's a fine line between believing in the truth while keeping an open mind that my truth is the only truth and I'm unwilling to listen or allow any other voices to exist. Sometimes we all just need a bit of faith and believe that the world can be a better place if we just try. It's the small steps and personal choices that allow for the collective changes. Well, I thank you guys for watching the video. Let me know how you guys feel about Tsubasa's story and if you enjoyed it or not. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back in the next one. Peace.